When it comes to UFC, we're mostly talking millions of dollars, but still, some fighters are not happy with their paydays. There was a time when Paulo Costa used to be one of those fighters. The man took to social media numerous times over the past year to complain about his prior UFC deal, and he was disappointed to the extent that he was willing to leave UFC. But in the end, he ended up re-signing the contract, and as of right now, he seems pretty happy. His manager, Tamara Alves, has recently revealed that Paulo Costa is currently the highest paid Brazilian fighter in the organization. While talking about Paulo's payday, he said, "Paulo went from being one of the most devalued athletes to one of the most valued athletes in the UFC. I have no doubt that Paulo is the highest paid Brazilian athlete in the organization today. I don't know if you know any Brazilian athlete that is paid more than $1 million per fight. I don't, especially in non-title fights." Paulo currently has 5 contracted fights with the UFC, and it has been also reported that UFC is working on potential clashes with Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev. His manager went on to add that the UFC is well aware of the fact that Paulo is a hot-selling product, adding that Paulo's pay-per-view with Adesanya was the highest pay-per-view sale in the middleweight division. Being a ref in the cage could be a very tricky job at times, and if you miss out on something, you could potentially put a fighter's life in danger. This is exactly the kind of thing that happened in the fight between Edgar Chairez and Gianni Vasquez. The two were in the 4th round of a competitive flyweight main event bout Friday evening at Boeing Center at Techport in San Antonio. The ref Frank Collazo was in the cage with them, and he did not notice that one of the fighters was out cold. Vasquez was locked in a triangle choke, and the ref failed to notice that within a few seconds he was out cold on the canvas. Vasquez was not moving at all, and when the commentators realized that the man was not moving, they started calling it out. The situation turned chaotic, and one of the commentators can be heard saying, "He's breathing like he's out, he's breathing like he's asleep, look at his leg." Even the people who were around the cage, they started shouting at the ref to stop the fight right away, because Vasquez was not moving at all. Chairez kept the lock for a few seconds, and then he himself moved to an armbar. After a few seconds, Vasquez started gaining consciousness, and he himself then tapped out, prompting the ref to finally stop the fight. The shouts of he's out," were constantly heard from around the cage. The people were pissed at Frank for being so ridiculously clueless. Things tend to go out of hand on many occasions when the fighters come for a face-off at weigh-ins. At AT&T Center, the weigh-ins took place on Friday, and the main event and the co-main event fighters also got to face off their respective opponents. Things, however, ended up getting heated up when the flyweight contenders Manel Kape and Alex Perez came face-to-face. Dana White was standing between the two boys, and he kinda had the feeling that it was going to get heated up, so he was already on his toes. It all got physical when Kape grabbed the back of Perez's neck. Perez, of course, did not take kindly to that, and he went on to shove his opponent away in an annoying manner, and from then on, Dana White and the other officials nearby right away sprung to action and told the two to save it for the cage. Glover Teixeira, the recently retired UFC fighter and a former light heavyweight champion, is now working with Alex Pereira as his coach. Alex has to defend his title against one of the best in the business, Israel Adesanya. Adesanya lost his belt to Alex Pereira when they came face-to-face for the 3rd time in their combat sports career. However, the Pereira's victory at UFC towers over the other two because beating Israel Adesanya in the middleweight division is something that no one has been able to pull off. With that win, he claimed the UFC middleweight title as well. Teixeira, however, has said that if he wants to beat Adesanya again, he needs to be extra focused because Adesanya is not going to make it any easier for him. To put it exactly in the former champion's words,
he knows the way we take last fight. He wait too much, to pull the trigger and just be more alert in this fight because he's fast. He move a lot, and that's what we've been working on. Be alert, be focused, and the opportunity come, just take that fight to finish.
Teixeira went on to say that Pereira is a powerhouse and he can finish off any fighter even if he gets the right second. Teixeira said that Alex is a big man. He can even fight as a heavyweight if he wants, but right now he is happy with where he is. But if he makes up his mind to fight at 205, he has all the talent to do that too.
He can do 205 for sure, and eventually it might happen, because everybody that goes up is, they call it super fights, big fights. So I think it's a possibility, yeah.
Jorge Masvidal has been out of action for a long time, but Gamebred is finally ready to make his comeback to the cage. He is going to lock horns with the number 5 ranked fighter Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is not going to be an easy opponent, and this is something he proved to the world when he fought Khamzat Chimaev last year. Burns has been the only fighter so far who made it hard in the octagon for Khamzat, although he did not come out victorious. In an interview with the MMA Junkie, Gamebred talked about his plans for his comeback fight against Burns. Masvidal went on to say that he means no disrespect to Burns and he knows that Burns is a good competitor, but despite that, he does not think Burns has the skills to beat a fighter like him. Masvidal said that as far as gameness goes, as far as toughness and durability goes, Burns is not that good. Masvidal said that Burns is not good at wrestling, and this is something he himself has been working on, and he is ready to take on guys who are good wrestlers. About his plans and his upcoming bout, Gamebred went on to say,
I'm going to tell you that I'm going to paint my angle on Gilbert's face, man, with elbows, knees, kicks, takedown defense, takedown offense, all that good stuff. I'm going to bring it in and just like when I started my career, just go out there and fight and have fun.
Khamzat Chimaev was with the MMA Hour when he went on to talk about his sparring sessions with Jiri Prochazka. Khamzat said that Jiri was not really much of a challenge for him and he went on to take him down. He said that he took Jiri down many times and even submitted him many times in those sessions. Prochazka, however, did not take kindly to this information reveal, and he went on to write on Instagram, "Which person needs to speak again and again about this 4-year-old information? Gym insider information." He went on to add that he is going to respond to these remarks by Chimaev when he meets him in the cage. Jiri said that he will show his real power to Chimaev this time. We all know Khamzat Chimaev. He never backs down from a fight and he is willing to fight anyone at any time. So after Jiri's post, Khamzat himself took to Instagram and responded on his stories. He showed a screenshot of messages he sent to Prochazka challenging him to a fight. He even added Dana White. Chimaev wrote, quote, "See you soon, boy. Respect. Let's fight in Sweden, June or July."